Welcome back, Shalligators. Today we are going to talk about Kourtney Kardashian, who's pregnant. Like, congrats or whatever. I don't know. We're going to break this down. I asked you guys what you had to say. Not the most positive feedback for a variety of reasons. But some of you guys were talking, you said that this was a great thing, not because of Kourtney having a baby with her new husband, Travis Barker, the human pencil. He's like a pencil from detention class, where he's like the desk that you write on detention, you know, he's like that. But because it really redefines the timeline for motherhood. So we're going to talk about all of this and probably so much more, because you know we like are really good into it. But before we get started, I want to remind you guys to join the Challange. It is our cozy little corner of the internet where you get 5 bonus videos a week, plus group chats with me on them, and we talk all day long. You get the real deal Holyfield scoop on my life. I'm gonna tell you, like, the boys I post on my Instagram, I'm gonna tell you who they are. And we just talk, we get like really, really deep. Like, today we're talking about, it's Slutty Saturday. We do Fuckboy Friday, Slutty Saturday, Evil Monday, so much more. And on Slutty Saturday, we're talking about emotional sluttiness, what that means, how you come off during dates when you're acting emotionally slutty, and what the fallout is there for relationships. So we get real into it. And then on Monday, I'm gonna do a little talk with them, a little video on a boy I wanna destroy. Just because I can. Because I feel like it. And I just kind of need some help and some feedback on that. Also, if you are feeling generous, so if you're looking to make some new friends and connect with people around the world, around the country, in your town even, I mean, there's hundreds of you guys on there, so it's really easy to make connection and bond and just broaden your friendship base. Go ahead and click the link below and join the Shallon Traj. And you can talk to me too. I love you guys. Also, I have to say, I'm breaking out in hives. I was just at lunch with Tom. If you're in the Shallon Traj, you know. My like Montana Hurt Locker, fuck. I know, we just can't, we like can't quit each other. And when it's like, when things are good, you know, you guys know this, like when things are good, like the good things take such like root in your mind, in your heart, that they carry you through the bad, which they fucking shouldn't. They shouldn't. The bad and the good should be weighted equally. Screw the good. The bad should be weighted more. You know, I've said this before, that like, we really cannot define someone's character by the good that they do. We have to look at how bad it gets when it's bad, right? Because you know who I'm gonna bring up? Who am I gonna bring up? Hello, Hitler. I'm gonna bring up Hitler. Hitler was a delight at parties. He could be extremely charming when he wanted to be. I don't think anyone's judging Hitler by the good times. You have to look at the depths of someone's behavior, not the top. It's hard. It's really, really hard. We just always need to be logging the data points at the worst equally. At the worst equally, which we don't do. We log the good things, like huge. They block out the sun. But we definitely should probably be logging the negative as weightier. So my point is, I was at lunch and I had one piece of cheese on the sandwich I had, and I'm breaking out in hives. Like, you know, when I tell you guys like Ozempic updates, and I really try to stress, like, my diet is radically different. I was like a cheese monster. I could just freebase cheese. Is that the thing with the spoon and the melting? That sounds delicious. I love melted cheese. It sounds great. But now I don't eat it at all. And when I do, my body's like, what do you think you're doing exactly right now? So I'm super itchy. I'm all splotchy. My bangs are acting up. I don't know if that's related. And I'm a little dumb sounding. Like, I just feel like very soupy and sluggish. So I'm really sorry. Okay, let's talk Kourtney. So Kourtney is 44, pregnant with her first baby with Travis Barker. Now, both of them have kids on their own. He has Landon, who's like some goth weenus. I don't even know what we're dealing with here. And Alabama, who is 17. And I can see her makeup from space. It's so funny to me. I mean, I get it when like teenagers, like they're trying to be older and grown up. It's like, do adults seem happy to you? Most of them are not. I am. I live a great life, but I'm an outlier. You know, you guys are outliers because you're hot and you're bad bitches and you're high achieving and you're happy. But there's a reason my channel doesn't have 10 million subscribers is because there aren't 10 million bad bitches. There's maybe just this many. I mean, there's more, and we're always trying to get them in here, right? But like, we are kind of the exceptions. My point is, like, she just looks like she's trying so hard to grow up. It's like, girl, just be a kid for a little while. Not even a kid. You don't have to be like a 10-year-old, like playing with worms and having slingshots in your back pocket. But just be a teenager. You don't need to have this like hyper curated brand persona. Dude, just relax a little bit. So his kids are not what I would call a glittering success story. If I was a mom, I would be concerned that those were my children. Just that they were extremes. You know, the gothy Landon, isn't he dating a D'Amelio right now? Is that a different one? I don't even know. I don't know. And then Alabama, who's like hyper sexual, not even sexual, just like hyper glam, which I know isn't the same thing as hypersexual, but it's hyper something. Whatever blank you want to fill that in, that's a lot. And you might come back and say, Shallon, most 17-year-olds look like that. Okay, then most 17-year-olds have a fucking problem. What's popular is not always right, and what's right is not always popular. Just because a lot of people are doing something doesn't mean it's a good thing. A lot of people are school shooters. Think of it that way. So those are his kids. Kourtney has 3 kids: Mason, Penelope, and Rain. Listen. I ain't trying to be out here mom shaming. I'm not, because I'm not a mom, because people are like, you don't know what it takes to be a mom. I think that I do. I know enough to know that I can't do it. And I don't even know it all. I maybe know 40, 50% of it, maybe 60% of what it takes. And that is even like overwhelming, okay? So I am not sitting here saying, it's so easy, why aren't you better at it? What I am saying is that Kourtney, with all the resources she has, therapists, nutritionists, behavioral specialists, I don't think she's a great mother. I'm sorry. Why am I saying that? Because she does seem to love her kids. She talks about them nonstop. Is that performative parenting? Is that what we call celebrity parenting? Let's look at outcomes. Penelope has a lot of behavioral issues. Do you remember in a show when Kim is like, Kourtney, you can't even keep a nanny? For celebrity nannies who are used to all the neurotic dynamics of celebrities, or even, fuck celebrities, just very rich people and all their weird idiosyncrasies, many of them to keep quitting. And Kim was talking about Penelope. And in another episode, it came out that Penelope was scratching her nanny, scratching her. And she wasn't like 2 having a tantrum. She was like a child, like 7, 8, 9. Like, I wasn't scratching people. So there's that. Okay, there's that level of acting out. And then you have Mason, who's 13 or 14, who's obese. And I don't blame Mason for that, and I don't blame Penelope for that. I blame Kourtney and Scott. That's who we should be blaming, okay? Kourtney, with all her performative, organic Chep Simon, like she's Miss Organic. I'm sorry, Kourtney, you're the most out of shape person on this entire show. So forgive me if I don't understand how you're always talking about how healthy you are and you're Miss Organic, and you have if I looked at you from the neck, I'd be like, that person never works out and she eats whatever the fuck she wants. And I think that's actually what is going on, because you have her sisters who work out a lot and it shows. Now, of course, they're surgerized to the gods. But listen, let's look at Khloe. People are like, she's on Ozempic. I bet the whole family's on Ozempic. I'm on Ozempic. I don't look like Khloe. I don't have a 6-pack. I don't have her capped delts, like the shoulders, like, and her legs. Yeah, she's got ass implants and, you know, maybe she's had some surgery help here and there. Surgery doesn't give you that body. You know, surgery doesn't give you Kendall's body, and Kendall's metabolism is a whole other story. But I'm sorry, I have just known people like Kourtney my whole life who talk about, I don't eat that. Nope, I don't eat that. It's like, well, you eat something that's not good. And they're performative exercise. I did 2 Soul Cycle classes today, and you also ate an entire pizza last night. And listen, you're struggling with something. I get it. I've been there. I get it. But please don't gaslight me and tell me that I'm fucking crazy for looking at someone I mean, like, these things just don't add up. And the reason I say this, and the reason this ties into parenthood, is because look at her children. Look at Mason. If you are so committed to health, and not just like, you're only eating organic stuff, but imparting the wisdom to your children, like, hey, this is why this is good for you. You don't want to eat that shit. You wouldn't have an obese teenager. And a lot of you guys were like, what I think happens is Mason is so under these rules with Kourtney that whenever he's not with her, it's like, you know, he's overcompensating, going the other direction. Maybe that's true. I don't know, you know, but something is happening inside his mind. And I feel for him. I really just feel for him. I know what it's like to feel overweight, and it's awful. And it's really, really unfair of her to be doing that. You know, I don't think Scott Disick is like the king of health either, you know, but this video isn't about Scott. And I'm sorry, at the end of the day, moms are in charge. And I say this because Kourtney, you don't need another baby. You have 3, and they might need your attention more than a newborn. Travis, I don't think you need more kids either. You're good. You're good to go. Both of you are good to go. It's weird to me that given that Travis has had a very, you know, messy divorce. Obviously, we've watched Kourtney go through all this bullshit with Scott for literally a decade. It's crazy to me that they, of all people who understand what happens when you have a child with someone and you're bound to them forever, and how messy that is and how fraught that can be when you just can't get away from someone, here they are doing it again. And we've done videos in the past about Kourtney, and I feel bad talking trash on her because she used to be like my favorite. She was all of our favorite, and we just were like rooting for her so hard after she like got free of Scott and she was in her hoe phase. She was fucking Justin Bieber. We're like, yes, get it. And then she didn't meet Travis. They had been friends, but when that took off, you're like, nice. And then I was like, ugh, what is going on with this Frenching everywhere? And one of you guys said it incredibly, so perfectly in a comment. This is like a year ago. It actually popped up in my memories on Instagram because I posted it, which was, this woman forgets that she is a mother before she's a girlfriend. And she puts her adolescent pleasure above what is healthy and appropriate for her kids. And I think this is so interesting because what we hear on this show constantly is my kids, from Kim, who's like, I don't want to say anything bad about Kanye for my kids, and my kids are going to appreciate it. North is not going to appreciate very much. Maybe the young ones will. North, girl, you're going to have your hands full with that. Anyway, Khloe says the same thing. I'm not trying to talk shit on Tristan, you know, for the sake of my daughter. And oh yeah, my son, who I guess is here now. That's a whole separate thing. I mean, when she said in the recent episode that like, it's still hard for her to bond with him, she's like, I mean, I don't treat him any different. Do you think a child can't tell when you don't love them? Do you think a child, even an infant, even a baby, can't tell when they're not exactly the favorite? They can. They can. Okay? And I'm not shaming Khloe for her feelings, and I applaud her for being honest about that. I think a lot of people who use surrogates probably deal with this, or adoption or whatever. But I am a little curious what the fuck she thought was going to happen forcing this baby. Surrogacy is not natural. It's very sci-fi Jurassic Park with a man who was so untrustworthy. It's like God was not getting you pregnant for a reason. And you couldn't just let that play out. You had to, nope, this is what I want. How'd that work, girl? I just think we're in this age of, we're focused on can I versus should I. That's literally the theme of Jurassic Park. But my point is, Kourtney's sisters are always like, my kids, for my kids. And that seems to have totally bypassed Kourtney. She's talking about fucking Travis on camera. Can you give us like in 10 minutes? We just need to fuck real quick in your guest room, Khloe. What is wrong with you? That is gross. Why are you saying these things on camera? Why are you Frenching on a red carpet? Are you a teenager? Is this the first wiener you've ever seen? I don't understand where this is coming from. It's like she's trying to regain her adolescence. Like she feels like she missed out on that because she was, you know, with Scott and doing all these things and who knows what else. And it feels good to be a teenager in love. It does. But you're not a teenager. You're 44 years old. And I'm not saying you're old and you have to be like depressing. Not at all. Not at all. But you have responsibilities. And this is part of the reason I don't have kids. I don't want those responsibilities. I want to act like a kid forever because I'm immature. At least I'm self-aware. When you have a baby, there are certain behaviors that I'm sorry, you just no longer get to participate in. One of them is committing suicide. I've said this a million times. You don't get to suicide out. Sorry, that's not fair. You don't get to do it. You're here for a long time, not a good time. And like being hypersexual with your new partner around your children is also something I don't think is appropriate. I don't. I think it does something to those kids that they might not be able to articulate. And her justification is, why shouldn't they see people who are so in love? Love and sex are not the same thing. And if that's what is concerning, that is how she interprets that. She can't demonstrate being in love with Travis without sitting on his lap and having him finger fuck her and their tongues are down the throat. It's like, you can't demonstrate to your children a healthy relationship. You can't demonstrate to the world and your audience a healthy relationship without it being so sexual. Then I don't think you're in a healthy relationship. I think you're in a sexual relationship. Great. Keep it behind closed doors. Don't have a baby. Babies are not great for your sex life. I have a friend who's dealing with this right now. She's in her 30s. Her boyfriend's in his early 20s. And he wants a baby. And she has babies. And she's like, I'm done. I'm like good to go. And she's like, he'd be such a great dad. And he might be. And I was like, listen, your relationship now is fun and sexy and tearing your clothes off because your kids are with your ex-husband. And you have this amazing, fun, sexy break. That's not what life is like with a newborn. I'm like, boo, you of all people know this. You've had 3 of them, 3 newborns. Like you've got. So it's interesting how hormones run away with people, or maybe who knows what we blame this on. We're so in love. It's like, we're so in love. We're just so sexy. And it's like, let's have a baby. On paper, that makes sense. What else is this lust leading up to then? Impregnation and breeding. We're animals, right? But we're not just animals. We're not horny dogs or ducks who want to get out there and just give it to one another. We're thinking humans. And especially humans who've already had kids. You would think above anybody else would be like, this is a fun little fantasy. Oh, we're just mommy and daddy. But listen, girl, we both know the reality. It's up all night. It's leaking sore nipples. It's, terrible twos, tantruming. It's getting them re-enrolled in school. It's all of it all over again. All over again. Do we really want to do this? Do we really want to let's get a wiener dog. Let's get a Brussels Griffon. Let's try a little dog, Have you ever had a puppy, like a puppy? Cowboys puppy phase? It was like it was harder than a newborn. My friends who are watching me who have kids, they're like, this is harder than a newborn. This is real. Ugh. And yeah, as much as sometimes I get puppy fever, I'm like, oh, the tummies and the little teeth. I stop and I remind myself, that was a very, very hard year of my life. And it's a puppy. He didn't exit my body. My nipples, right where I left them. Amazing. So, I think that concludes my rant about this. I would love to hear from you guys. And we're going to keep on ranting. Great. Okay. I'm just going to read through some of these. Heather, you said, time to start hyping women in their 40s and 50s. We're still hot and not going anywhere. Yes, bitch, yes. That's a whole other video, and I think we've touched on this. Maybe I've done some videos on this. Like, we talk about last fuckable day for like men because good. Like Shawn Mendes and Justin and all those guys. But like, I think women like Kourtney, like Kate Beckinsale, Gwen Stefani, Monica Bellucci, of course, Jennifer Lopez are redefining what the last fuckable day is for women. They're still so hot. They have a lot of things in common. They all are thin. Sorry, they're not just thin, because sometimes being thin, you can look older. I've been working out with my trainer. Like we work out 3 or 4 times a week, and I've been doing this since the beginning of the year. And, you know, I'm getting gains, I'm getting muscles, I'm getting shapely. And he's like, you look a lot younger. Because when you came in here, you were really skinny, but it made you look old because you didn't have a lot of muscle tone. I was like, fuck. And he's right. So staying fit, I mean, literally your bones start to deteriorate, which is why when you get older, your face flattens out. Muscle exercise keeps bone density. My mom was a bone density specialist, so I know all about this. So the more you exercise, the denser your bones are going to stay, and your face is going to look better. Because listen, you can add filler. It's no replacement for bone. Nothing looks better than bone. Vanessa, you said, she seems to like motherhood a lot, so more power to her. And one of you guys said, she seems to like babies, but not very much kids. This is interesting because I have said this for a while about Kourtney. I believe Kourtney is the classic. She is like, to me, kind of an on-paper textbook narcissist. We use narcissist, we overuse this term, you know, like he's a psychopath, he's a sociopath. What a narcissist is someone who actually has pretty low self-esteem. And so they are constantly, they're the ultimate cold-blooded animal, right? They gain their sense of self-worth from their environment. And when we date a narcissist, he's going to love bomb you. That's what they do. And they hype you up and they're The one time you have a bad day, you don't look that good, you have a problem with his behavior, you're gone. They will drop you like a bad habit because now you're not perfect. And if you're not perfect, how can your shine make them feel perfect? Right? Narcissists are amazing parents to young kids. Why? It seems odd because that's when kids are very difficult. Well, amazing parents is a relative term, right? They like young kids, they like babies because what do babies need? Them. Mommy, 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 daddy, 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 daddy's home, daddy, wow! Like little kids love their parents. But kids naturally grow up and they start to separate. They get their own kids. Mom, you're embarrassing, Mom! And what does a true narcissistic parent do? Oh, you don't want to hang out with me? Great. And they don't speak to them for 12 hours. They go away. Fine. No, fine. And this child is like, like they feel abandoned. And that's when you get a child with attachment disorders. That's a lot of times what creates borderline personality disorder. If you scratch the surface behind someone with BPD, very often you find a narcissistic parent, you know? And narcissism, it can look very different. It doesn't always look the way we think it's going to. But I look at Kourtney. She's the eldest child, right, in this family. Kim comes along. And if you had been watching the Kardashians since the beginning, it was like Kourtney versus Kim. There was nothing good could ever happen to Kim without Kourtney sitting there and being like, I think you just look really fat. Like she was such a little hater all the time. All the time. Kim would be in tears. Nothing good could happen. Kourtney was there to tear her down because it disrupted her position as the queen bee of the family, you know, the eldest child. And then Kourtney starts having kids and she gets to be a little tyrant again. And her staying with Scott for so long was not an accident. She was getting a huge emotional payout from his messiness because then she could behave however she wanted with impunity. No matter how messy she was, no matter how mean, no matter how whatever, she was never as bad as Scott. So she was always just winning. She could do whatever, and she was always above him. She always had this moral high ground. And I know that flies in the face of, well, they need their partner to be like so perfect. True. But when her relationship with Scott was breaking down, she got pregnant. And she had a new little thing to worship her and to get her identity off of. And yeah, kind of seems like when these kids start to separate, suddenly they're scratching a nanny. Suddenly they're obese. And suddenly she wants a new one. It's a little tyrant fiefdom for her. Just my 2 cents. I'm not a doctor. I just play one on TV. Okay, Jack, we miss you in the Challange. Come back whenever you're ready. We love you. Starting over when you're older. Okay, hold on. We're going to pause this. So many of you guys literally just said one word. Cringe. So, the word cringe comes up here so many times. Cringe, 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 cringe. Yeah. Starting over when you're older. Also, hold on. Just to touch on Kourtney's organic hypocrisy, she did IVF for like a year. There is literally nothing less organic than that. Like, you're so concerned about red dye and M&Ms, but you're going to pump your body full of insanely powerful and unhealthy hormones. Do a little bit of research on what estrogen bombs in your body can like lead to down the line. And I'm talking not just about people doing IVF, but freezing your eggs. All sorts of cancers have been linked to those kinds of hormone imbalances. Doctors who perform these procedures and encourage you to do that, they're not tracking you for the next 30 years. They're trying to give you what you want now. They're a salesperson, okay? And they are preying on this idea that your clock, boom, 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 is ticking. And you know what? I cannot tell you how many people I know, and I don't just mean celebrities, I mean people in my own life who are doing all this IVF and the shots and nothing was working. And finally they were like, I just give up. 6 months later, they're pregnant. You gotta just let go and let flow, you know? And I know that that's probably easy for me to say. I don't wanna be a parent, and I haven't tried to be a parent, but I have tried to do a lot of other things in my life, and I've achieved them. And I am a big manifester. I'm fucking great at it. And the way I'm great at it is I don't put too much psychic energy towards it. I put psychic energy towards relaxation and happiness, you know, and then the blessings flow in. I know that that sounds woo-woo, but I'm sorry. I'm kind of proof positive that this works. So this brings me to how to start over when you're older. I think, speaking of mindset, one of the greatest things we can do is get rid of this concept that there is an expiration date for us. Yeah, your biology is what it is. You're probably not going to be 48 getting pregnant for the first time, but you might be 45. I talked to you guys and some of you are like 26. You're like, I'm running out of time. I'm like, I'm not kidding you, 14 years to get pregnant naturally with very little effort. At the minimum, 14 years from now, who knows what's gonna be possible? We could all be extinct. Like, who knows? Like, you have all the time in the world. The worst possible thing that you can do in life, I don't care if you're talking about buying new clothes, getting bangs, mating with someone, the worst thing you can do is make a fear-based decision. Worst thing you can do. I want you to pause and I want you to think, and you don't have to do it now, you can do it later, but I just want you to start to attune your vision to the friends in your life who are just disasters. They're just disasters, right? They're maybe good people, and maybe they're not a disaster in every category because you probably just don't know people like that who are just all around crystals. You probably don't know those people. But there is maybe one category, maybe they cannot get ahead at work. Maybe they can't even keep a job. Maybe they can't keep a man. Maybe they can't keep the weight off. I guarantee you, if you sit and you think and you look at their behavior, somewhere in there, there's fear-based decision making. They're fucking guys on the first date. Why? Because they just really are attractive? Girl, no. Because they think that's going to make him like her. She thinks that's, you know what I mean. At work, the fear-based decision is going above and beyond, doing too much, not getting valued, burning out, doing something stupid and getting fired. I don't know. Maybe it's not that. Maybe it's the opposite. She's the fry cook, but she's so smart, she could get a bigger, better job, but she's too afraid to go for it. Sit and think about that and use these people as an example. Only a fool learns from their own mistake. A wise woman learns from the mistakes of others. How does this relate to starting over? We have much less fear about the clock ticking. We have much less hesitancy to leave someone shitty and start over if we do not chronically make fear-based decisions. If we are in the position where we can make gutsy decisions based on authenticity, intuition, strategy, and planning. If nothing else, if you don't know how to tap into your intuition, that's okay. We've done videos on it. Just search that word on my channel. Just pure strategy. Anything but fear. That clock ticks a lot slower because that feeling of I'm running out of time is rooted in I am not using this time effectively. right? I don't know what I'm doing with this time, and I don't know what the future is going to hold. I have no plan. I have no 1-year plan. I have no 5-year plan. I have no 5-minute plan. I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. So of course you're going to be anxious and feel like your life is out of control. It is. And you can get it in control. You can literally pull back and do that. Start by analyzing your friends and kind of trashing them in your mind, you know? And just being like, dude, I don't want to be like Crystal. I don't want to be like Mackenzie. I don't want to make these decisions. Am I making these decisions? How in my life am I being a Crystal? What am I doing? Where do I see that? If you don't know, ask your friends. Maybe not those ones, but ask your friends who you trust. Be like, where do you see me making fear-based decisions? And like, what specifically am I doing? It might not be your favorite conversation, but wouldn't you rather have maybe an unpleasant brunch than an unpleasant 12 more years, 50 more years, an unpleasant baby daddy, an unpleasant divorce? We are strong enough to handle those conversations. Not everyone is. I would say most people aren't, but we are. Again, that's why there's not 10 million people on this channel. I don't know that 10 million people are as smart as we are. It's lonely at the top. But we have this obligation. If we want these incredible outcomes, which we deserve, again, not sure everybody does, we do. So nothing ventured, nothing gained. And fortune really does favor the bold. So we need to be able to have these sort of internal dialogues with other people and figure it out. Because like I said, it's going to influence our ability to start over and have it not be the scariest thing in the world. I mean, starting over is scary, you know? And next week, I'm gonna hit you guys with some videos about me starting over when I moved from New York City to Montana, because it's my 3-year Montana-versary, which is crazy. And I'll tell you how I thrived here. I mean, there's some very specific, concrete, in real life things I did, and there's some mindset things that I did. We'll talk about it. Let's keep going. Ooh, this is really good. How to feel confident when you feel late or behind in life. Work, first kiss, virginity, etc. I love this. I love this. I actually have a video. I'm going to put it up, I think, tomorrow, maybe Monday, because tomorrow we're going to do some Father's Day stuff. About The Idol, you know, that Lily Depp, The Weekend show, and what to do when you're like dickmatized by a guy. And one thing I talk about is craving intensity. But I talk about my own experience when I was the most, you know, Lily Deppy, you know, like in this show. It's when I felt behind in my life. And so I was constantly craving. I needed to wring every drop of emotion and intensity and feeling, just like bigger, brighter, louder, faster, more, out of every single aspect of my life and experience, because I just felt so behind. I felt really behind after my father died when I was 22. I went to a college that I didn't like, that I just felt really, really stifled. I felt stifled as a child, and I was just like, get me out of there. I was like a racehorse, just like jumping and foaming in the gate before it's released, you know? And I didn't know how to fix that feeling. So yeah, how to feel confident when you feel late or behind in life. And I say this in the video, but I also didn't feel good when I filmed that yesterday. I just haven't been feeling great. I've just been super wiped out. I'm so sorry. So I'll say it now. And if it sounds stupid tomorrow, I'll just go back to this part of this video. Maybe it'll sound better. This comes across as very flippant and woo-woo, but you have to trust the schedule of life. You have to trust how it unfolds. What other choice do you have? A lifetime of regret? A lifetime of chasing and intensity and it's never enough. It's never enough. You know who lives like that? I do. This is like the number one thing my therapist and I talk about. He says all the time, you can stop running. You can stop proving to people from middle school who underestimated you that you're going to make something out of yourself. You did. It's okay. You're safe. If you're in the Challange, you know these affirmations we do all the time. I'm safe. I'm safe. I'm safe. I'm safe. I'm safe to receive the blessings. I'm safe to let good things in my life. I'm safe to be grateful for where I am. It's really difficult. It's really difficult because what the fear brain tells us, and what does the fear brain sound like? Snooky. She tells us that if you stop running, if you pause, if you take a breath, if you let someone else care for you, it's over. It's over. The career will collapse. You'll get fat again. You'll be broke one more time, right? We need to go back and trust ourselves. I got myself out of that bad situation once. I can do it again. I'm not gonna go back there. I am self-aware enough to check myself. No, you don't need to order the queso. No, you don't need to buy that. No, you don't need to fuck that guy. I can check myself. I am trusting that I have learned lessons. And I'm also gonna trust that that path unfolded at that pace exactly the way God wanted it to. But why? Why? Girl, I don't know. Why couldn't Chloe get pregnant? Go back to this. Go back to God's plan. The people who say it's God's plan seem to be the ones who do everything to foil that plan. It's God's plan as long as it is exactly my plan. And if it's not exactly my plan, it's the devil's plan, and I will fight against him. I will fight against Lucifer. Right? That's not how these plans work. I listen to a lot of Joel Osteen because he talks a lot about this. It's like, you don't know what God has in store for you, and you also don't know what the hand of God was keeping you away from. And you know what? You might never know. There might not be a slideshow at the end of your life. It's like, this is the bullets. These are all the bullets you've dodged. I was having this conversation with my friend Mandy. She's amazing. We're going to be doing an Instagram live later this week. Mandy Brook Official. Follow her on Instagram. You probably already do. She's a Shalligator and now we're besties. But we were talking about Raya, the dating app. I cannot get verified on Raya to save my fucking life. To save my life. And I have had, friends, they have like, who like sponsor you who are already on there, like other celebrities and whatever. Cannot get verified. Will not get approved on there. And in Montana, it's especially galling because it's like, me and John Mayer out here. That's just us two. And I was trying to get verified on it in like 2019 when I lived in New York. And I said, the only thing I chalk it up to is it's the hand of God. And that hand of God kept me from getting verified on there, maybe finding love in New York, maybe finding love at that time with a celebrity where I would be focused on their career and, like the baby narcissist I am, the shine they would give my ego, and not focusing on developing this channel and developing my own thing and not moving to Montana, where I also can't find love. So the argument falls apart a little bit. But listen, that might sound silly. Who cares? It makes me feel better. And then I no longer sink my teeth into this. And it's the why. I have to fix this. I have to get on right. Why? You might never know why, girl. You might never know why something did or didn't happen. Ironically, though, you get to create the why. At the very worst, you don't know, you're letting God's path unfold in front of you. Okay? That's a worst case scenario. Still pretty good. The best case scenario is you decide the why. You decide the why. How I decided the why in terms of that Raya thing is, I am going to celebritize myself. I don't need to date, some DJ or somebody who I don't even know. I am going to be my own big fish. I am going to be my own cool person. I feel like my brain is collapsing at this moment. I'm so sorry. You know what I'm saying? I have created that why. Why did I want to be on Raya? I wanted to meet someone high level. Bitch, I made myself high level. So I don't need it. I can date someone normal who has a cool normal job. I am my own shine right now. That's warm-blooded. That's the warm-blooded animal. So you have the responsibility, if you want it, to figure out your own why. You can't change what happened, but you can change what it means. And you do that by finding the meaning, not waiting for God to tell you what it means. Go out and find it. Go out and find that. I like this. Why do people feel like they have to have kids no matter what? Dude, bro, I don't know. You know what? The pressure of society is something else. Every day of my life, I mine my soul for some small ember of a maternal instinct. Maybe today's the day that I will wake up and want a baby. Maybe today's the day. Why? Why? Because society is good with that. My mom would be thrilled. It would be easier. I honestly think it would be easier to date. I do. Especially in Montana, it's weird that I don't have kids, and it's even weirder that I don't want them. They're like, okay. It's just hard for people to get their head around. And I get it. But, you know, it's what people are taught to do. And I'm not into it, man. I'm not into it. Caroline, I don't have a topic. I'm just glad I'm child-free. Love it. It's cringe how she did this at the Blink 182 show, stealing the attention. Blink fans don't give a fuck about her. It's true. I don't know. I'm a Blink fan like the girls do, you know. I grew up, oh man, first make out to Blink, of course. Okay. Lots of gross, lots of cringe. My aunt had a child of 46. These things happen. It's completely okay. Don't give up on the idea of having a family after 35. Finding love later in life. Doing inner work to find a soulmate. No timeline on love. Timelines in our head aren't real. I love all this. Yes, timelines in your head aren't real. Like, to a point, but they're much more malleable than you think. And again, the worst thing you can do is make a bad choice. So when I hear my friends say they're going to freeze their eggs, I'm like, from a health standpoint, I don't think that's a great idea. But listen, from an emotional standpoint, which is part of your health, mental health is health. If that's going to keep you from feeling like you need to get knocked up by the next asshole you see at a gas station, great. If that buys you some peace of mind and some time where you can be more judicious about the person you choose to mate with, girl, fantastic. If that buys you time to work on your career so you're more financially stable by the time you do decide to have a baby, also fantastic, you know? Great. Oh my God. Also this username, Megan the Stallion's knees, love it. She's gonna be in her 60s when this kid graduates from high school. Let's talk briefly about the pros and cons of motherhood when you're young and when you're old. Again, I'm not one, who knows? But I can see it in my friends. A lot of my friends here in Montana. It's funny, like one of my friends, she's 44. One of her daughters just got married. She got married at 19, super young. But my friend had gotten married at 19, and her daughter, Kristen, the guy she married, his parents got married at 19. So I don't know, she's like, I know it's crazy, but like, we all just have a template for it working really well when you're young, you know? And I was like, hey, different strokes for different folks. You never know. And, you know, I talked to her a lot about what it was like to be a young mother. And she's like, the times in your life when everyone else was having a lot of fun, we were doing a lot of hard work, right? Like, it was just kind of flip-flop. She's like, but now we're like empty nesters in our 40s. I mean, she is a smoke show. She literally wears her high school daughter's like dresses sometimes when we go. I mean, she's a smoke. She's 44. Like, she's still super young. If you take care of yourself, if you stay fit and you like are just riddled with sun damage, 44 will look like 34, which will look like 28. It really will. Like, just kind of keep it between the navigational beacons. You'll be fine. But she's like, now I have just like, all my work is done. I see some of my friends, one of our other friends is 42 and she's got a 2-year-old. And she's just getting this party started, you know? And it was her interpretation of motherhood, or her experience, is like, you know what? It's hard for me because I'm older and my body just did not bounce back as easily, but life is overall easier because I got money. So we got nannies. We got a camper. Like, the edges of life that are difficult are blunted for us because we're rich now. And my friend who had kids super young, she's like, yeah, it was the opposite for us. It was tough because we were completely broke in our 20s. They do very well now. But she's like, that was why it was difficult. We had energy, you know, and we loved like chasing after them. We had a very like kind of child mindset in a way. Our frontal lobes hadn't closed, but life was tough because we were broke. So, you know, there is no perfect formula for motherhood. it's gonna be tough somehow, probably, unless you're like a millionaire at 23. I don't know, maybe you are, and maybe that's exactly when you want to have kids and you want to be a really young mom. But you know, I hear girls say, it's like, no, I have to be a mom now. I don't want to be an old mom. You still have plenty of energy. You're not going to break a hip giving birth. Like you're okay. Having a baby at 35, like, you're gonna be just fine. You're gonna be just fine. Do what works for you, and don't set up these artificial parameters around the biggest decision of your life. Because there's no going back. I don't know. I would love to say I'm happy for Travis and Kourtney. Maybe this baby will be raised to be, you know, a Nobel Prize winner, a poet laureate, or even just reasonably attractive and normal. But I would hope that between the two of them, they didn't need 5 to 6 practice laps on their other kids before they actually got it right. That's what's kind of giving me a little pause. What do you guys think about this? If you were a young mom, tell us your experience. If you were an older mom, please tell us your experience. Tell us your experience no matter what. And we're going to be back tomorrow with some Father's Day content. We're going to talk about Formula One driver Max Verstappen. I haven't forgotten about that. And he has quite a father. So I don't know if I'm going to do 2 videos or just kind of do it all in one. But when you have a parent with exceedingly high expectations, or, you know, always kind of making you feel like you're not good enough, how do you deal with that? Plus, we're going to talk about what to do if you don't really have a parent at all, like a father at all. How do you date without a template? We're going to figure this out together, as we always do. Like I said, join the Shallon Entourage. It's our cozy corner of the internet for 5 bonus videos and more a week, plus story times, and best of all, the ability to connect with other Shalligators around the world, make friends, see each other, chit chat, get help with all your problems. All right, we'll see you later, guys.